Hello everyone, and welcome to game 1 of round 1. Soma versus Golden Wolves. We have Slogaleo playing the Twins for Golden Wolves against the survivors of Team Soma, Legionnaire, Swatter, Milston, and Volga. It's gonna be interesting.
This is going to be a very, very interesting first trial here. Slogaleo trying to make a switch between the baby and Charlotte here. Victor is going to find the first target though. This is going to be a good start for the Thanatophobia here as well. 5% slowdown going to be in this trial. The question is, how much progress do we have on this 3-gen at the top side? 4-gen if we calculate the generator that is currently corrupted here. So the good and kind of typical suffocation pit setup here. This is going to be another M1, 10% slowdown now on the survivor of Soma. 60 seconds into this trial here, doing a good job so far. Slogaleo getting the pressure down early on. Now he's trying to cut the survivor off towards the midsection. Charlotte is remaining up here, able to guard the generators very soon, and this is going to be the third hit into the game while Milston is being reset in the distance. So Soma taking it quick here with the resets, making sure that Slow is not able to take over so much. But on the other side, that means that no survivor is currently sitting on these generators. They are busy with the resets. This is now going to be 2 survivors located here at the bottom mid near. We'll find the pallet in this jungle gym. Mind game coming out, not in time for Slogaleo. It's going to be +5 wood being collected there at the pallet, and he's detecting the survivor that is going back towards the top side, stopping them from hopping onto a generator here. So far we can already see what kind of back and forth this match is going to be.
Yeah, and like you said, Slow, a lot of pressure just being able to get those injures. We see the reset coming through, and this will put all survivors back to full health. It looks like Volga's getting ready to kick Victor, it seems like. And we just see a lot of crouching around. Slow not really finding anyone at the moment because they're trying their best to not be spotted anywhere. We know Volga was here just a moment ago. So did Volga get away? It seems like that is the case. Going to be switching back to Victor here. Going to be running around trying to split the pressure as best as he can. This generator does have some work on it. Where is the survivor that was working on it though? That is the question. We switch back to Charlotte, and scratch marks right in front of Slow. Decides not to try and track it down. Instead switches back to Victor, and that was a survivor on the edge map. That is Volga being spotted and just instantly runs away. Bit of a slow start. We're gonna switch our target onto Swatter. This should just be a quick pounce, and possibly Slow's gonna commit to this chase.
It's a difficult question when you go for this commitment onto the chase, right? Because Soma is doing a really, really good job here trying to pull him all the way towards the bottom side. He is identifying that, wants to keep his 4-gen. The issue Slow is currently facing is that as long as they are going for these resets and keeping it slow, the time is ticking against him. There are 2 generators done at the bottom side. Only 1 survivor is currently injured. So Soma is doing a really good job, but we do see the injured survivor being here on the left side of the main building. This is going to be the corner tech to waste as much time as possible. I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe see a survivor rotating towards the top side, taking a hit to prevent the hook here, but it's quite close towards the edge map, so this is actually going to come through. Now the game changing a little bit. Slow is able to hook a survivor here on this top side where he wants to play around Ace, leaving very early as well here. Good communication on this side of Soma. Milston is on another generator, 40%. Legionnaire had this generator on the top side on 60, so 2 generators slowly being progressed here. Claudette is there to take a hit as well. Assistance has been sent over by the rescuer. Now it's going to be the question, is Slow able to work around them? It's going to be Claudette taking the hit. That's going to be a little bit additional slowdown from the Thanatophobia, and you have Charlotte in front of the main building, so they're not freely passing by towards the bottom side here, Slow with the mind game around the main building, trying to catch these survivors. But SOMA confident all along here, going for a run and making it back towards the midsection here. At least this filler pallet is going to be in play. Generator number 3 coming out, the pressure is rising. The generator from Legionnaire should find the 100% mark really soon as well here, and that would be nearly 4 generators at this point with just 1 hook stage so far.
Yeah, and
wow,
this is really good for SOMA. Just only allowing 1 kill this entire game, that would be a really strong performance. Swatter obviously jumping into the locker to just try and waste the killer's time, make sure that Slow can't get the pounce onto Swatter and then go find someone else. Gonna force the grab out of the locker, and 1 generator left, and I don't know, there is still a 3-gen on this side of the map. A bit unlucky with the generator spawns. I believe there are 5 generators on the top side of the map, so the fact that they were able to get this much done is a little impressive.
It is really impressive, and SOMA is showing us what we talked about in Campfire Chat, right? They need to be ready to play, they need to be well prepared, and this is exactly how this survivor performance was planned by them, and they are getting it through. Slow is guarding this survivor here, wants the elimination, hoping that he would keep 1 generator until that is happening. He has a strong 3-gen here. On the top side, we do see the No One Escapes Death being there in the back pocket as well, as soon as we are going into the end game. And now it's going to be the Patience game. 2 survivors are here for the save. Are they going to be successful? Just a few seconds remaining here. Slow with a great Patience. And it's the grab that's going to change a lot here for Goldenwolf, the survivor, dying on the hook as well. This is huge. This is the elimination with another hook on the top side. The survivor on the top side pulling back. We can see the killer instinct slowly going towards the bottom side. SOMA's confidence performance on edge here. The dry kick coming through. You have 5% slowdown as well, and the survivors will need to take a few seconds to reconsider the strategy here. Now, this is not what you were looking for. This is a horrendous change for the pressure SOMA has been put up so far into this trial, and they need to stay undetected kinda, because if Slow is able to get another survivor injured here, or maybe even a down, that could be really bad for Team SOMA.
Yeah, it's crazy how 1 misplay can just cause this much of a snowball. Milston and Volga both injured. One of them is going down, but I imagine Victor will be kicked as soon as that happens. Milston goes down, and yeah, there's the kick from Volga. Should be able to... Gee, there might not be enough time. Slow might be able to get the pickup. We do see Legionnaire there, and it seems like Volga didn't want to take the risk and try going to pick Milston up off the ground. So this is going to be another hook stage for Golden Wolves, and this generator does have a decent amount of progress on it. No pop goes to Weasel, so no instant regression gonna be coming in. Just that dry kick, gonna slow it down just a little bit, and now it looks like we're gonna be switching out to Victor and gonna be going after Legionnaire. We're gonna leave Victor in that main building, see if there's anyone gonna be trying to sneak around there, and just trying to pressure these survivors, both with the camp onto Milston and the hit onto Legionnaire. This could turn into one hell of a snowball.
Yeah, this is looking like a snowball becoming more and more likely here. SOMA will need another turn to prevent this. Slow with the patience there on the hook earlier, really bringing him and Golden Wolves back into this game here. This is going to be the down in the main building. SOMA unfortunately not able to reach the mid part of the suffocation pit. They keep dying in the 3-gen setup, and this is really what makes it possible for Slow to keep up the pressure. Here we see one survivor going into a locker here, so locations are revealed. He can freely pick up Legionnaire and go for a hook here. He doesn't need to be worried about the generator pressure. They will have some travel time back towards the top side. The survivor potentially crawl towards the edge map, wasting more time from Slow, and it is going to be a little bit of a back and forth. Still, Slow will need to make calculations when he can go for his slug and the hooks in the future here, while he needs to guard these generators. But another fresh hook is also coming through. That's going to be important for the scoring, as we are awarding 3-2 in DBDLeague here. This is going to be 1 extra point basically earned for this survivor compared to a normal hook stage. And Victor is going on a travel towards the bottom side, expecting that these 2 survivors are going for a reset. We do see that coming through before they are pushing back towards the reset. They are going to keep it safe here. Both of them have stayed undetected. This is a very good play by SOMA. Volga now on the way towards the top side. He will be got by Victor. The hit as well. We see immediately how Volga is rotating back towards the bottom side. This is going to give Slow additional time. And can we talk about this hill here and the hook location Slow has chosen? This is basically free information while guarding the hook stage.
Yeah, I mean, the survivors of SOMA can't really do much. Volga is injured, and is currently babysitting Victor. That leaves only Milston to really do anything. Legionnaire goes second, and Legionnaire seems to have disappeared for a moment. But oh no, this could be really bad. Victor's back out. Not gonna go for Volga. Instead, gonna try and find where Milston went. But in that little amount of time, it does seem they were able to get the save onto Legionnaire. Milston didn't end up making his way around the main building, was able to get that save. But now Slow using Victor, looking for that tunnel onto Legionnaire. And Legionnaire is going to bring that edge map tech, as you called it a moment ago. And Legionnaire's back on the ground.
This is going to be the question once again. Slug
Wait,
or
the
guarding
adrenaline.
the generator. They do got it done into the adrenaline. This is what
It doesn't
SOMA
matter.
was looking for. Not mattering too much here, unfortunately. Legionnaire not making it that far, but we do not have a no way out. We have chosen that no one escapes death here, and now Slow might have wished he had the no way out to prevent the time. This is going to be a nice down, but they might be able to crawl out of this trial here. The door is open. Claudette is going to move towards that exit gate. Heal tech will be potentially possible, as well as their flashlight firecracker. That's going to be the question. Otherwise, Milston also with the option to go back into the trial and pick up the survivor, but they are going for the safe pick here. Milston is going to escape. We do see Volga going to award 2 stages here for Slow, and our slugged survivor staying into this trial. We need to talk about Slow's comeback though. SOMA in the mid game really oppressive with the command, basically what is happening in the game. They were smashing through the generators, they kept resetting, and then you worded it really perfectly here. I think you said, there we see how much one mistake can change a game in competitive Dead by Daylight, and this is what we have seen here. It's a beautiful story for Slow Galio of a comeback, of earning additional stages here, 10 if we are talking about the correct amount, and I think SOMA will have quite a challenge here to basically shake this misplay off, right? They need to focus themselves and send their killer with quite some confidence into this upcoming trial.
Yeah, I mean, that isn't what we originally thought was going to happen when we got into this match. We got into the match, we started playing it out a little bit, and we thought, okay, SWATter's just going to get tunneled out and the rest of the generators are going to get done. Or at least that's what I thought. And that was not the case. That was almost a 4K, actually. And with a score of 12-24, if you're goals, you're sitting pretty right now. You're feeling pretty confident in yourself. You're pretty comfortable with your performance. You don't have to do anything too crazy, it seems like.
Yeah, it is going to be a difficult challenge here for Team SOMA. We will see how they are sending in their killer. They need to, as we said, shake off this little turnaround there. Golden Wolves is going to come in really, really happy here that Slow made such a turn towards the 10 stages. And therefore, guys, we are going to check how Golden Wolves and SOMA are going to continue here in trial number 2 after a quick break.
Hello everyone and welcome back to game 2 of round 1. We have Volga playing the Twins against the survivors of Golden Wolves. We've got Chrissy, I believe this is their first match. We have Mordo, we've got Slow, and we've got Rin. And already Volga babysitting Victor, and I feel like we could have started a chase there onto Slow, but instead we're going to be chasing Mordo, and seems like we have another one of those like 5-gen topside setups just right off the bat. And it looks like we are going to be getting in chase with Slow here. Victor no longer being babysat. It'll be available in just a moment, but it isn't even needed. Just the M1 around the corner. I don't think anyone's going to be coming for a pallet save, even if you could. And this is going to be a very early basement hook.
Yeah, that's a really, really strong start for Volga here. Slow, they're a little bit too confident at the pallet, unfortunately, going into the basement here. We have the Hex Ruin as well, an interesting choice on the Twins, but now with Charlotte being here in the main building and Victor able to take a look onto these generators there at the bottom side, we might get some value from the Hex Ruin and the Regression. Volga now crossing the midsection. Corrupt Intervention is now going to expire. We do see the first generator being completed by Golden Wolves. The efficiency is there. The question is how many more will they get done in exchange for very likely the second stage here on Slow, because I don't see Volga leaving the main building anytime soon. Corrupt Intervention now finally fully expired. Access to all remaining 6 generators here, and it's going to be interesting how they are going to play this out here. There's the option to go for a save onto Slow, somehow trying to not have this ending in a trade. We do see that the Victor is kept for now. Hex Ruin will leave the trial, and that's going to be second stage for Slow, and very likely Volga is just going to proceed this into the elimination.
Yeah, and I was gonna say Volga is in a very strong spot. Obviously you're in your 3-gen, and the Ruin was here, but Volga wasn't too concerned with defending the Ruin, more so just concerned with defending this basement hook, which I think is a good play. I think that is a good idea. Just get a survivor out of the match as soon as possible. We have 5 generators on this top side of the map. That is some scary RNG if you're Golden Wolves. We saw the same thing in the last game, and so the survivors of SOMA were able to break it. So we're gonna have to see if Golden Wolves can accomplish the same feat in breaking this 5-gen.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit rough here for them with the basement hook. It is going to be the elimination coming through now on 4 generators remaining. We do see them restarting the generators now, but it will need a very, very coordinated play in order to break this setup. There's Mordo taking a hit with the Dwight going back towards the shack side, and Volga doesn't even bother to follow this. He is guarding his setup over here. We can see the beautiful triangle on the left side, and if that is getting broken, you have the generator setup in line from left to right side of the main building here, trying to see if a survivor is trying to sneak by. That's not going to be the case, and Volga now instantly moving towards the bottom side, trying to not allow the injured survivors going for a reset. Here we do see the scratch marks leading towards the sea wall, and this is going to be Cressy taking the hit here on the bottom side. That is going to require another rescuer and potentially a healer as well. There's a generator being completed. It's not one of the topside generators, so the setup still intact here for Volga, and definitely you will keep up this pressure, and it's going to be a tough challenge here.
Yeah, and I mean, I noticed I made a mistake. It is only 4 generators on this top side of the map. This is still very difficult, especially with slow out of the game so soon. Chrissy wiggled out a little bit greedy with this hook, and Volga unable to secure the hook. And Mordo and Rin are both full health. They should be able to take body blocks, and it looks like that's what they are trying to do. Volga knows that Chrissy just hopped in the locker, so instead wants to get the injury onto Mordo, get that extra Thanatophobia stat going. And that is the only perk that is currently being used right now, actually. Thanatophobia, and that's it. Your Ruin is gone, Corrupt has run out, and Force Penance not in use right now. Volga gonna be tracking the survivors over to the Killer Shack, and Mordo able to get the kick onto Victor. I'm a little bit worried that Rin is just on the top side of the map, breaking that 3-gen.
Yeah, it's slowly they are trying to approach it, right? And you will need to start Vori at some point, because now Volga actually spending a lot of time here on the bottom side, maybe getting a little bit too confident with this here. We do see the Dwight with the firecrackers as well. It is going to be the pick from Chrissy out of this locker, and this is going to be the next hook stage. However, there we see Nancy already working on the top side. At least one of these generators might be broken out of this setup really soon. Here we can see Volga going towards the top side, but using Victor for it. So even if he injures the survivor there on the top side, he won't be there with Charlotte, and he has a long travel distance, so we will see one generator being broken out of this setup really soon here. Volga is not able to get the pressure back, and the survivor went actually into vanishing mode here, trying to hide in the main building in this locker. Was successful with it, is now leaving it, going to go for the kick here, as Charlotte is busy at the moment with the saves here. This is Mordo going for a trade with Chrissy. The BT hit is being taken, and the survivor will move towards the mid side. So our survivors struggling free, getting some time for themselves to get it into these generators. The question for me is it not a little bit too late for that?
It might be a little bit too late, but if you can break up this 3-gen, then it will be worth it. There's already 1-gen gone. You need to do one more, and then you might have a chance at getting out of this trial alive. But until that happens, it's a long way out, and that's gonna be Rin taking the hit from Victor. All your survivors are injured. This Volga has so much pressure right now. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, the pressure is insane, and Volga is doing a good job in keeping it up, right? We were a little bit worried when we saw him going towards the shack side and spending quite some time there in the bottom side, but it seems like his calculation is a little bit better and a little bit more valid than the one we're putting onto the table here, because the 3-gen there, the triangle still intact. 2 survivors injured. We don't see Chrissy getting healed. That makes me wonder what they are currently doing. Volga looking towards the top side real quick, nodding a little bit, maybe expecting the survivors to break out this setup. Mordo has 60 seconds of hang time. You can either put that into one of these generators, but then you have another generator to go with just 2 survivors, which is also not going to be the easiest task here, and therefore fully understandable that Volga is now aware of these 2 survivors and going all the way towards the top side here, trying to keep one survivor at the filler pallet at the left side and keeping an eye onto the kidnapped Victor on the other side. Now he can also be sure that no one is crossing the midsection to get the save here, so the elimination into 2 survivors will come through in 20 seconds from now, and with 2 survivors injured and 2 generators to go, together with 3 stages being the win condition out of the door here, it is going to be a rough challenge. And Nancy also a little bit too confident here on this pallet, or pulling it a little bit too late, going to result in the down. So I think we are looking towards the 4K being brought up by Volga here.
Yeah, it does seem like that is going to be the case. A strong start from Soma, but this is kind of what we predicted. We talked about how someone's going to win this first round, and yeah, Chrissy goes down, Rin's on the ground. I mean, I can't imagine you're too happy. I can't imagine you being happy with this result. But yeah, it is going to be a 4K coming out from Volga. I mean, we talked about how with the changes to the scheduling and the standings and everything, SOMA is currently winless. This is definitely a good look from them into getting back their wins that they lost when we removed those drop teams from consideration. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this match.
I think it was important to mention the standings, right, and that they need this confident performance today, and that they are showing it here. And we also need to consider the first trial. SOMA had to accept a really, really hard throwback on the performance when the grab on the hook came through, and they were struggling free from it, still getting some stages out of the door, and now their killer is going to finish it with a 4K on 2 gens here. So they are really putting themselves on a wave they can try to ride in terms of mindset and the confidence throughout the second set here. And talking about this second set with the Plague, this is really going to be the challenge now for Golden Wolves, because it is your confident set. You often have good results on the Plague, so that's definitely a safe pick for Golden Wolves here. However, we do need that 110% right here. Golden Wolves needs to be good from the very first second here. They need to be very efficient from the very first second. And what I'm a little bit worried about, Will, when we're talking about this mindset, is the fact that Golden Wolves Survivor team has to play straight again after this quite tough match here. So it is also going to be a task for them to shake their minds a little bit free from what just happened and basically play the second set like the first one never happened.
Yeah, and I would say it wouldn't be that big of an issue because they could just call a timeout and collect themselves. But they used their timeout before this game started.
Mm-hmm.
So they no longer have that capability to just take a deep breath and reset. And it's even worse because I don't even think we have time for ping tests, because I'm pretty sure Volga is going to be your Plague match, and we're in that lobby right now. So it's going to be really tough to get a reset. And to make matters even worse, I mentioned it in the pre-show, Plague is a killer that SOMA also feels rather confident on. So this could be a 2-0 going in favor of SOMA. And we predicted that Golden Wolves would win this round, but with the way this match is going, I don't know if that is going to happen. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens after the break. Stay tuned. Hello everyone and welcome back to game 1 of round 2. We have Volga on the Plague against the survivors of Golden Wolves, and for a moment I thought we had a split Corrupt. I was wrong. Corrupt is just on the bottom side of the map. Again, we have Volga playing the Plague for Team SOMA against the survivors of Golden Wolves, Slow, Mordo, Rin, and Chrissy. Right now we just see Volga running up the middle of the map trying to find a survivor. Interesting build. I don't think we've seen Brutal Strength on too many killers this season. And, ooh, Chrissy gets hit with that infection early on. Gonna get that infection building up. Volga doesn't even want to take the chase. He got the infection. He's happy. And now he's going for Slow. I don't know if there is a pallet at this tile. There is. And right now, ooh, Slow just barely misses that vomit and does get hit. Doesn't get infected, but manages to get the stun and the blind. But there is a whole lot over here. Does manage to get to the killer shack though. Is going to be able to run this for a little while, and I believe that was a lithe out of the shack window. And Volga is just gonna cross the map once again, gonna pick up his power on the way, and he's gonna try and force these survivors off of the gens that he has left.
Yeah, here we see the little bit of more aggressive approach from Volga. We have talked in the campfire chat, picking the power and now going towards this top side, trying to get the pressure onto the survivors. This is going to be Ryan, Chrissy moving towards the top side now as well, and they will try to reach the main building. Not going to be successful with this puke over the hill. Our survivor is going towards the edge map, and this is going to be the first down into this game. Trying to waste some additional time here. The bad news is that you have been in the active generators, but there's a survivor close by. That might be a breakout play here by Golden Wolves. Is it going to be successful? It's not going to come through, and this is another hit with the corrupt perch here. So Golden Wolves taking a little bit too much risk here at the start of the game. That's a second down. Well, this is not looking too good.
Yeah, this isn't looking good at all for Golden Wolves. We talked about it at the end of the last match, but Golden Wolves basically had no time to recover from the previous round, and I think it's starting to show a little bit. Mordo is on the ground. Although we did just see that infection, that means Slow might be going for the pickup. That is what we see here. Unfortunately, isn't able to stick. Volga sees Ren going for the save onto Chrissy. Decides not to go back and try and defend. It's too far. Instead, just going to go for the pickup and the hook. And Volga tries to force the pallet drop. Doesn't quite get it. And that generator was quite progressed right here. And gonna use that brutal strength to kick the generator, but no pop goes to Weasel, no regression perks really. Just gonna be able to slow things down. And all survivors are infected. This brings up the broken record of a question. Do you cleanse? If so, when and where?
Yeah, this is going to be a tough choice for Golden Wolves here. You mentioned it. It looks like they're still affected from trial number 1 here and not able to shake that off. There's going to be the next corrupt pool coming in by Volga. The hit not coming through here, but you will be facing 2 survivors here, the rescuer and the one that was hooked beforehand. Good dodge here by our survivor. These seconds are going to give you a little bit of space on the objectives. You can get some progress into these generators. You need to drop this pallet, and this is going to be the down onto Slow. 1 generator is being completed at the top side, so 2 points going to Golden Wolves here. Meanwhile, this is a fresh hook as well, so you have 2 minutes of hang time. But we need a few additional generators here. We still have a 4 gen if we link 3 gen now, cast this curse, if we do count the bottom mid generator into this setup here. Otherwise, Golden Wolf's doing a good job in breaking these setups as quick as possible. Is now going to be a little bit more difficult as the one at the truck is broken, but Mordo is not making it towards the top side in time, and there's another survivor right here. And in case Chrissy is going down, then this is not going to be the day of Golden Wolves. 1, 2, 3 going down. This is a 4K on 3 generators remaining, and I think this was not the plan they were aiming for.
What happened? What happened? This is supposed to be your pick. This is supposed to be the killer you are the best in the league at. What happened? Oh my god. That was I mean, we were talking about it before we went live, but I'm gonna have to remember this for week 7 highlights. Wow. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say.
I'm speechless too, and I regret hopping in as caster for you. Golden Wolves here. It hurts, but I think, like, trying to give a little bit of insight here, I think what the plan was is going to take a little bit of risk. Risk can put some pressure onto Volga and onto Team SOMA, but if you take quite some risk, this can backfire if you make one wrong step. And I think this is what we have seen here, a little bit of shaking, a little bit of trying to be too much risky, trying to put too much pressure into the objectives, getting a little bit too careless also with the pressure Volga can put back onto them, and if you then chain 1 or 2 mistakes together while the Plague has the Corrupt Purge available, then you are facing your death sentence. And I think this is what we have seen here. And once again, I think I just want to use your quote from trial number 1. I think we have seen once again 1 misplay, 1 miscalculation, and the snowball is happening. This snowball, though, way faster than in the Twins game.
Yeah, that was rough to watch. Like, if you're a SOMA fan, that was some peak Dead by Daylight. Yeah. But if you're a Golden Wolves fan, that's gotta hurt. That's gotta hurt a lot. And having predicted Golden Wolves, I am not too happy with my prediction right now.
We have Benny.
I was gonna get to that. Turning to a more positive note, we don't typically see 4Ks on Plague. I think that game was a great example of just how powerful Plague can be. But when we're talking about consistently able to 4K, this is a person who can do that. Yeah, Benny Boy coming up next. So my only concern is just how fast that 4K happened. We know Benny Boy can 4K, and it's just, can you 4K before 2 generators are completed?
2 only tie, right?
Yeah, 2 is a tie. So
yeah, it's rough.
It's a tough task. I do think though that if anyone is going to be capable of doing it, it is going to be Benny Boy. And we'll be back with that match, or with that game, right after the break. Hello everyone, and welcome back to what could end up being our last game of this match. We've got Benny Boy playing the Plague for Golden Wolves against the survivors of Team SOMA, Legionnaire, Swatter, Milston, and Volga. And Benny Boy has a lot of work to do, so he better get started. It looks like the survivors of Team SOMA are already making their way up to the top side of the map. Meanwhile, Benny Boy still searching the bottom side of the map and looking at the corrupt placement, both the pool and the intervention. Not exactly the best. You do have a survivor being chased up here, but this is just one survivor. The other 3 are already working on gens on the top side of the map. Seems like Benny seems to know that and is automatically retreating back to the top side of the map to find Legionnaire's teammates.
Yeah, it's in the difficult thing here, right? I just noticed is that Benny for the first time ever has the Hex Ruin in his loadout. This is something he never brought before, and talking about how he's aware of the pressure that is put into the trial here, using Hex Ruin the first time ever shows that you do also rely on a little bit of luck here, that SOMA is not finding your totem early on, that you get... Well, yeah, and I just destroyed Benny's totem. I'm sorry, mate.
You just caster cursed your own teammate.
This feels really... I was just saying, like, we can really tell that Benny is aware of the risk here. Now the totem is gone, unfortunately, and this is going to feel really good for the side of SOMA. We see how Benny is trying to get the infection onto these survivors. 2 of them have been successful, but 2 generators can be done, and then you're still facing the tie condition. I do think realistically that's the maximum Benny can do here, but it's still going to be a quite horrible task for him.
Yeah, out of curiosity, we did have that chase on the Volga that we both just ignored, but out of curiosity, what does Benny normally run?
Benny is normally coming in with a no way out in exchange for the Hex Ruin, so really trying to make... I mean, most of the time he doesn't need it because he is actually able to 4K quite a lot of teams, but for the back pocket he prefers to have this end game play and this little bit of a slowdown. This is now a really good down here in his top setup. This is also the area that
Ooh,
was
basement.
not corrupted before. It's going to be the basement, and this is normally what you want to play around, right? Benny doesn't have this option because of the win condition that is set up. So normally we would say basement hook, 4-gen on top side. This is looking really horrible for SOMA, but they have the bottom generators, and that's going to be enough for them.
Yeah, and we do have a spectator bug. I'm sorry for that. I know what caused it, and I still do it so often. It's whenever you switch back, just as they're starting the hook animation. But we got one gen here, and Milston has another gen ready to go as well, except it might have gotten kicked. No. We do have... Oh, Benny is no longer just face camping Volga in the basement. There's 2 generators down, though, and now you really got to put the pressure on because one more generator goes, and that is this match going in favor of SOMA.
Yeah, if SOMA is not making a serious misplay here, that is quite an unrealistic task for Benny. We see this one generator here at the bottom side all the way towards the truck, and then this setup there on the top side. We mentioned usually you want to play around that in combination with your basement hook. Here you don't have the option due to the phenomenal win conditions Volga has put up for SOMA. We see the survivors leaving far behind the main building, giving their teammates space to work on these generators at the bottom side, and they will happily just do that. This is also a very nice dodge here by Volga, now trying to be cheeky on this pallet, forcing the stun onto Benny. Not going to work. The experience of Benny here staying as the winner. That was a very beautiful dodge, however, from Volga. He is going to run this TNL, and I wouldn't be surprised if this chase on its own would already result in the 3rd and final generator here to spell the win condition to Benny. We have to say, with that basement hook, really strong play. There's not much he can do here, and this is going to be a few seconds until SOMA actually pushing themselves into the first win in the standings here, and rewarding themselves with the really strong performance they've shown here today. The Twins really on point on both sides. The Plague, especially on the killer side so far, really on point, and even on survivor side they look really confident right now.
Yeah, and I feel bad because I maybe underestimated Team SOMA. I was looking at the revised standings before this match, and 0-4 doesn't look too good. But then you have to consider 2 wins were taken off against Reverse and Aberration. Reverse was previously the 4th team in our league, so obviously they're very good, and they lost to SOMA. So I feel bad for maybe underestimating them, but we are going to play out the rest of this trial. It looks like Volga is just going to be dead on hook. The survivors of SOMA, they know they've won at this point. They're happy. They're fine with these results, and we do have a 4-gen going on the top side of the map. Volga does get saved at the last possible second by Swatter, but we do still have that corrupt purge, and it should be able to cause a lot of damage, possibly going for a tunnel here onto Volga.
Now Benny, I think what important is for Benny here, and this is kind of the responsibility he has now for his team. We talked about the recovery time for Golden Wolves coming from the Twins, right? It was really short due to them using their timeout early here, and there's another very short recovery time towards the game on Sunday here. So if Benny is able to 4K this on SOMA, or at least get a lot of stages here, that is kind of something you can take with you from today, right? You kind of try to ignore the first 3 trials and take this 4th trial as a signal for the upcoming match against O'Boy, and say, hey, this is something we want to work with. This is now going to be the elimination here. We do see the down onto Legionnaire. Benny now really taking over and playing a wonderful play game here. Has a lot of pressure. He has the 3-gen standing on the top side. He's now going to move this survivor here, Legionnaire, towards the top side as well, making sure that he will be able to guard the generators in combination with the hook stages. We do see one survivor going for the cleanse on the bottom side. That's a smart choice here, because it's unlikely for Benny to come back all the way. This generator receives a pop kick as well. The information tool in terms of the power is coming through, and we have a really beautiful 3-gen here. Benny can play around, so he's putting up a really strong performance here against a very confident survivor team, and if he is able to play it down like this has some potential for Golden.
Yeah, and you talked about momentum going into future matches. One thing that did change over the midseason break is we're going to be seeing most of these teams playing twice a week. The only teams that don't play twice a week are Six and Eternal, and that's only because they played 5 matches before the season break, whereas everyone else played 4. So we're going to be seeing both of these teams later this week as well. We'll talk more about that when we get to the post show, but for now, just if Benny's able to get a 4K, or like you said, get a lot of stages, it's going to mean a lot going into Golden Wolves' next match.
Benny now looking forward, or looking towards the second stage here onto Legionnaire. There's the save, so Swatter, who just cleansed on the bottom side, is now going to be injured again, but he will be able to make a little bit of distance. But Benny cutting them off here at the truck, trying to keep them on the top side, working with the zoning here. We do see Milston being back on the main building together with the Adam here as well. Soma a little bit of stacking, and that's going to be tricky and potentially backfiring, because Benny will happily just take the infection on another survivor, knowing that Nia won't make it that far, and this vault is actually coming through in time. This is going to cost some time for Benny. He needs to immediately rotate back towards the generator behind the main building, knowing that Soma is attacking this objective already. There's going to be the kick onto this generator. It's just going to be a dry kick. More scratch marks on the generators over here. Therefore, it is going to be the question, when is Benny going for the full commitment? When is he trying to force the hook stage? Getting this padded out at the truck is really important as well. He's just going to run into it, forcing the drop so he can remove this resort from the survivor as well. 60% behind the main building, but with full injury and broken status effect. So risk being taken by Soma. Immediately we see 2 survivors rotating towards the top side here. The coordination really on point with the survivor team, and they might get generator number 5 for it.
Yeah, and Benny tries going for the hit through the window, isn't quite able to get it. But we do see now the survivors of SOMA are starting to work on this hill gen. So on top of having to defend the gen behind the main building, you have to defend this hill gen, and it looks like we're getting to a chase with Legionnaire. I don't know if Legionnaire had the balanced landing, but does get the vault out of the crane and does disappear, so I'm guessing that was the balanced landing. It is just going to be chased to this mid-map. The question is just how much is Benny going to commit to this chase? We do have the Bloodlust coming in. Pallet gets dropped and tries to mind game for the vault. Soma finishes that last generator. Now they're just looking to get stages out the door. Legionnaire, not the most valuable survivor here, as is dead on hook. You're probably better off going for Swatter or Milston. Bloodlust 2 now being achieved. This is a rather long chase onto Legionnaire, and Benny Boy finally gets the down.
Yeah, this is going to be now another hook for Benny. Unfortunately, we mentioned earlier, not with the no way out this time. Makes sense though with this win condition. I think what we can note down is that Benny played an absolute phenomenal match here once again, really able to keep the pressure down, consistent performance, and from his look and control over the survivor team, showing a really strong performance. Looking onto this match as a whole here, we are going to do that in the end game show, but I do think Soma was able to pull up their confident performance today. They were looking for really pushing themselves into what they tried to achieve here. Golden Wolves with a rough day. I think we can just word it like this. That was not what they had prepared here and what the plan was. So this is going to be some work of analyzation there on their side. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's an interview coming up.
That should be the case, but you know, like I mentioned at the top of this stream, we don't have staff behind the scenes working on that. So there may or may not be an interview. I don't know who it would be with if it is, but we'll get that all figured out and either come to you with an interview or with the post show right after the break.